been over a week since I run this car. I'm gonna go ahead and get it idling for a couple minutes. Hope the neighbors aren't too mad, but I want to get some fuel, coolant, everything through the system. I just don't want to let it sit for too long. It's already had 6 months of waiting patiently. It deserves some idle time. Make sure she's in neutral. My newly skinned handbrake up. And found the coolant leak right back there on their back side of the plenum. You can see it sort of squirting out. Yeah, definitely a coolant leak. Yeah, we're gonna have to fix that. Now my ride height is really bad. I'm while the wheel's off, I'm going up here, and I already had the fenders rolled, but now that I don't have to have any fender liners since, you know, crashed car, I'm just going ahead and hammering the entire edge in completely flat because I really don't care about it anymore. That bracket cut off of it, which gives me more clearance up here, and now I'm gonna go ahead and hammer this all down flat for more wheel clearance. Well, the coolant leak is right underneath the throttle body, and I don't think I'm gonna have any luck reaching it. For now, I'm gonna try and take the, oh man, I'm tired, the support bar off, take the intake off, see if I can reach under the throttle body. If not, the plenum has a brand new gasket, so there shouldn't be any problem taking it off and putting it back on without getting another one, so I'm sure that won't end up leaking. I'm gonna go ahead and try the intake first. I'm gonna leave the throttle body on there just because it's a pain in the butt, and see if I may end up having to take this off. I've never said I'm the smartest person, but I have my moments sometimes. So I'm gonna use some of this liquid gasket maker with a brush and just brush a little bit onto the base there. That way because it's a really slippery surface, I just want something for the hose to grab onto, since that hose clamp's a little old. I'm not sure how well it's holding on. Give it a little more, and as you can see, it's on there about as far as it possibly can be with just a little bit of gasket maker. Let me wipe that excess off. Just a little bit of gasket maker inside of there to just keep it stuck a little bit more, because there's a lot of pressure building up in that line for some reason. It was already spraying across the engine bay. I'm back the next day, and I'm gonna go ahead and idle the car again. And trying to make sure that coolant line I plugged up is not going to smoke anymore. Most of the smoke's coming from right above my gauges on that side. So that coolant leak was fixed, but there's definitely still smoke. I did these valve cover gaskets. I mean, you saw if you watched the video before. I'm guessing I might have to redo this side's valve cover gasket, but it does not smell like oil. But I do have brand new oil in it, so I'm guessing it just doesn't smell the same as burnt oil, because I'm used to old burnt oil in this car. The smoke is definitely coming from right down there, pretty close to the bottom of the valve cover. It's either that or some sort of line got pinched down there and is just squirting out against the headers. Receiving my roll cage from FedEx right now. Ordered it through Injuki Racing. Just received my roll cage. Obviously quite a big truck for a pallet, but glad it comes with a diagram, because I didn't know what the hell I was doing building this thing. Shouldn't be too bad to assemble. I hope my welds are strong enough, because I haven't really worked with metal this thick quite yet. Hoping I don't need a stronger welder. If not, I'll have to take it to my buddy's house and use his, but this should work out. Bare metal was exposed under here when I hammered it down, so I went ahead and sprayed it with primer and obviously sanded it beforehand. Today I want to do some more weight reduction and thinking ahead on this car. These turn signals back here are worth decent money. I don't care about turn signals. It's a track car. Also, it's a track car. Rear end is very vulnerable to getting hit. So I'm gonna go ahead and take these out now before they get broken. Go ahead and throw them up on eBay. I'll put my eBay link in the description if anyone's interested in buying parts off this car. But I'm gonna go ahead and take them out. I see nothing but pros here. I can make a little bit of money, save this part from getting cracked, maybe help a future driver out, and do a little weight reduction while I'm at it. Obviously, it's not going to be the prettiest because there's going to be big holes in the bumper now, but when was this car ever pretty? I got the bulb out, And I don't know if I'm dumb, but it kind of looks like there's a second bulb in there. I might just go ahead and take the entire back bumper off to make this easier. But at the same time, I'm kind of dumb, so I might challenge myself. So I went ahead and removed the tail light. And I forgot completely that there's two different bulbs. On this one, I run an aftermarket flasher bulb. And I know the other one's just a running light, which I don't believe works anymore. So I'm gonna go ahead and test it by pressing the brake pedal. And I'm correct, only the flashing brake light works. And OSW only requires a brake light, so I'm gonna go ahead and tap into this wiring and delete this altogether on both sides. Just a little extra weight reduction, extra parts to not have to worry about when I take the taillights out in the future, maybe if I crash on track. Just looking out for myself in the future here. And this also allows me to access a couple points to remove this rear bumper. Got the rear bumper off. You already saw the taillights were off. I completely forgot there was brake lights on these cars from factory. Goodbye to those. Goodbye you. Goodbye you. Any of this wiring back here that doesn't do anything but brake lights, bye-bye to you. If you don't serve a purpose, I don't want you back here. Got everything out. Tomorrow I'm gonna come through here and trim that off, trim this off, trim this whole edge off, and same with the edge on this one. It's just not needed. Extra weight, extra things to get stuck when the bumper's trying to come off on track. Because I'm sure this thing's gonna fall off every once in a while. Once these, sorry, the lights went out, scared me. Once these clips start to break over time from wall taps or backing it into a wall, or maybe just my dumbass not loading it onto the trailer correctly. So my phone died and I got a little bored. Yeah, that's the current state of the wiring harness. It's definitely been in worse shambles. Going through and cutting out everything that isn't a brake light or the two wires that run into the fuel door. I'm back out here next day. Got my super lightweight bumper. Can just kick it around. And this is all the wiring I pulled last night. I mean, I obviously didn't finish because I would have said something about that last night. And I got my brake lights and my turn signals. Oh, split some bolts. These brake lights right here with the trunk release button as well. All deleted. None of that's really needed. I'll probably be selling these soon. So I'm going through here. This is everything I cut last night. And I'm figuring out what these black grounds that run to right here, which ones of those I actually need. And the only bulbs you can see left are obviously the two brake lights. All the other ones right over here, completely not needed. And I'm gonna cut as far back as I can, probably to the point where I can hide whatever isn't needed up under there, and run the rest out in one tightly wrapped piece of heat shrink with some electrical tape. Just run it straight through the bottom here, down into this back area, so I can run it out to the taillights. If you watch my videos, you know I'm a huge fan of weight reduction. That's two tiny pieces of steel gone straight out the back. Also, I ended up with the tires, so that way I can help a little more with smoke clearance out the back end of the car. I'm trying to figure out something I can do with here, because I know the frame rail under here is bent, but I'm trying to pull away as much stuff from it as I can, so that way I can put an aftermarket bash bar back here. I mean, obviously it'll bolt up, but it's not the straightest. So I'm gonna see if maybe I take the bash bar off, I can hammer it a little bit straighter, and there's a little bit of a gap here that I'd like to hammer down and maybe put some RTV through it and some rust protection. Another piece added just to clean up the car from its factory look, obviously. They added this little black trim that covers up where the clips go here. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut right along here. So that way the clips are more easily accessible from the top with the hatch open. Clearly I don't care about looks in the back here. And it'll just take off even more weight, I know. Too much weight reduction, but it's what I like. The bumper isn't even completely clipped on, so that's why you see a little bit of a gap for now. But I'm gonna go ahead and pull this. And you can see how much easier the access to these clips are. And if I push them all the way in, you would never see this area at all. It may not look good at all. And I obviously haven't sanded it down even yet. It was just a rough cut with the Sawzall. But gives me a little more access, a little more weight reduction, all the things that make me happy on a drift car. 2 more little strips. So I'm gonna come in through here with my orbital sander, smooth everything down on that top. It already looks much better than before, with these little corners sticking up to blend in with the headlights. This is everything I took off my bumper. I even went and cut these out for the turn signals. Don't need those at all since there will be no turn signals in the housings. This thing is incredibly light now. Oh, incredible. I could not ask for more. I got all my clips exposed here so I can easily pop off the bumper. I don't even have 4 of the screws in. It's just a couple clips, and the fitment's already great. I love the way you can see through where the lights previously were. It's just like a ghost look on the rear end. It might not be pretty, but I just love the way you can see the bash bar through it, especially when I get an aftermarket bar on this thing. It'll just help you see it so much more. I'm gonna go ahead and put the taillights in. I need the screw in the corner there, the one that connects right behind the taillight housing here, and same for the other side. And it already fits this good, and it's much lighter. I do have a bit of a plate rattle now, but it's a drift car. Plenty of things are gonna rattle. I really cannot complain about that one little thing out of this entire thing. And I went ahead and put my wiring harness up through here, so I'm gonna sit down here and just go at this for about an hour. I'll come back whenever I'm done with that. Exactly what you would want out of a drift car.